chest surgery. A nightmare I lived. If you're watching this, I need you to listen carefully. I was a doctor. I was supposed to save lives, but one mistake can follow you forever. And if you make the wrong mistake, this is my story. The night I walked into that hospital at 1 a.m., the call came in late. Emergency surgery. No details. Just one instruction. Report to operating room 6. I knew something was wrong the second I stepped into the hospital. The entrance door slid open, but no one was there. No receptionist. No security. The halls were dead silent. My footsteps echoed too loudly. The smell of antiseptic burned my nose. Something felt off. The hallway lights flickered, buzzing with a sickly glow. As I walked, the air turned heavy. Each step felt slower, like something didn't want me to reach that room. Then, I heard it. The soft, rhythmic sound of surgical tools clinking together. But there was no one in sight. I should have turned around. I should have left. But I didn't. The doors to operating room 6 slid open before I even touched them. Inside, a body lay on the operating table, covered with a sheet. The monitors were active. The heart was beating. But something was wrong. I hadn't even checked in. No nurse had prepped the patient. No one else was in the room. I swallowed hard and grabbed the clipboard. My fingers trembled as I read it. Do not make the same mistake twice. My blood turned to ice. I reached for the sheet, and as I lifted it, the power cut out. For a moment, the darkness was complete, suffocating. The air felt too thick. I couldn't see, couldn't move, couldn't. Then, in the pitch-black room, a whisper, so close it felt like it was inside my own head. Doctor, you're late. The monitors shrieked back to life. The lights flickered. And when I looked down, her eyes were open. Wet, squelching sounds, surgical tools clattering, a slow, ragged inhale from the unseen presence. She sat up. Her skin was gray. Her lips split into a too-wide grin. You remember me, don't you? She rasped. I did. I knew exactly who she was. Years ago, on this very table, I was her surgeon, and she didn't survive. My hands trembled as I stepped back, but the doors were gone. The entire room had changed. The walls were lined with rusted scalpels, blood-stained trays. The floor was wet with something thick and dark. My breathing turned shallow. My fingers twitched. Then, the scalpel rose into the air on its own. It hovered toward me, spinning, waiting. Again, she whispered, tilting her head. Let's try again, doctor. I couldn't move. My arms lifted against my will. My hands wrapped around the scalpel. Something else was inside me now. Something that wanted me to. The patient lay back down. The monitors beeped steadily. The clipboard reappeared at the foot of the bed. Do not make the same mistake twice. I don't know how long I stood there, trapped in that room, but I know what I saw. Because when I looked up at the reflective light above the table, I saw myself, and I wasn't moving. The reflection was smiling, watching, waiting. Then, it whispered, "It's your turn now." Darkness swallowed me whole. I don't know if I ever left that room. The next morning, the hospital reported that the operating room was empty. The security footage, gone. It was like I had never been there. But if that's true, who's telling you this story? One more surgeon needed. The last story you will ever hear. If you are watching this, stop now. I'm serious. Because once you hear this story, you won't sleep. You won't be alone. Something will change. You will start noticing the shadows move when they shouldn't. The whispers, they will come at night. And And no matter how much you try to forget, this story will never leave you, because it's not just a story, it's a warning. And the moment I finish telling it, it will begin for you too. The incident, the night it all began, it started with a simple knock at the door. I had just moved into my new apartment. Small, quiet, perfect for someone like me, who preferred to be alone. The landlord mentioned something strange before handing me the keys. Never answer the door after midnight, no matter who it is. I laughed it off, a stupid superstition. But that night, as I sat on my couch, scrolling mindlessly on my phone, I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. I checked the time. 12:04 a.m. My blood ran cold. Someone was at my door. I didn't move. I barely breathed. And then, knock, knock, knock. It was slow, rhythmic, not hurried, not impatient, like whoever was on the other side knew I was listening. I grabbed my phone, hesitated, and then I made the worst mistake of my life. I checked the peephole. There was no one there, but the knocking, it didn't stop. And then, from the other side of the door, a voice, my voice, whispered, "Let me in." I stumbled back, heart hammering. My mind raced with every logical explanation, but deep down I knew this wasn't possible. The voice behind the door wasn't human. It wasn't me. And then, my phone buzzed. A notification. It was a video. I tapped it. My screen filled with grainy black and white footage. A security camera feed of my front door. And standing outside was me. Not a reflection. Not a twin. It was me. I was watching my cellie knock on my own door. Knock, knock, knock. And then, the me on the screen turned and looked directly into the camera. It smiled and whispered, "Let me in." I threw my phone across the room. My hands trembled as I backed away, forcing myself to breathe. Then, the lights flickered. The air in the room grew thick, suffocating, as if the walls were pressing in. The shadows stretched, reaching out like fingers. Then my phone buzzed again. A new video. I didn't want to look, but I did. This time, the footage wasn't of my front door. It was inside, my living room. Someone was standing there. It was me, but I hadn't moved. And as I watched, the other me turned its head at an unnatural angle and grinned. Then, the screen went black, and the knocking stopped. Silence filled the apartment. Then, a single whisper, "Behind you." I couldn't move. The air felt ice cold against my neck. I knew I wasn't alone. Slowly, trembling, I turned my head, and I saw it. It was me, standing inches away. A mirror image, but wrong. The skin too pale, the eyes too dark, the smile too wide. It leaned in close and whispered, "Now you're mine." I don't remember what happened after that. I woke up in the hospital. They said I was found unconscious in my apartment. But something is different. My reflection, it lingers a second too long when I move. My voice on recordings sounds distorted, and sometimes, at night, I hear a knock at my door. So if you're watching this, check your reflection. Make sure it moves when you do, because if it doesn't, it's already too late. 3 times. Don't answer, or you'll become the next story, and no one will ever know you were replaced. If this story sent chills down your spine, make sure to like, comment,